Beauty is coming our way. Beauty is coming our way. Yeah. Beauty is coming our way. Coming our way. Beauty is coming our way. Coming our way. Beauty is coming our way. Coming our way. Beauty is coming our way. Coming our way.
The time is 6 o'clock. Good evening, everybody. How are we doing today? Please confirm that you can hear me. Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
Maybe if you can reduce the music.
The music should actually be off completely now. Is it still playing on your side?
It just stopped.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Good to have you here.
Good evening, all.
Good evening, Angel. Thank you for joining. Tmak is my name. And for those who are joining us for the first time, this is Hey Coach. It's a program from the stable of the Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiative. Coincidentally, my producer just reminded me that this edition marks 2 years that we started this. And this is coming on the back of another series that we ran for almost 5 years, something like that, where we're producing content every week. So nice. It feels very good to see how far we've come. And today promises to be another exciting session. So thank you very much for joining us. Again, for those who are not familiar with what this is all about, this is not really a training. The emphasis of this program or this particular product is around knowledge sharing, experience sharing, crowdsourcing ideas, because in my journey, I realized that many people struggle with simple things simply because they don't have perspective. There are certain decisions I've taken in my career that I would have done differently knowing what I know now. And therefore, the whole essence is to see how to ensure that as much as is practicable and possible, we do not allow people to just grow and then go by native intelligence and therefore take suboptimal decision. So as I will mention in the course of the program, we have a community that we are building on Telegram, where we encourage people to come. Anything you are trying to deal with, from simple things like somebody met me yesterday and was talking to me about pension, or simple things like insurance, or simple things like investment, or you just want to, anything, as long as you're a working professional, whether you are an entrepreneur or you are an employee or join, no difference, okay? So the whole idea of this program is to share experience and to ensure that coaching, mentoring, support is available for you on the go. I'm proud to say that over these last 2 years, not one time have we failed to start at 6. Typically, our room will even open about 30 minutes before. We've tried to delay the start of the formalities just to be sure that we have enough people around the table. But 6 o'clock on the dot, we have always started. And I'd like to thank my producer, John, Titiloye, and all the team working on this. It takes a lot to produce this. You don't even want to have any idea of what my life has been like over the last 3 days. But that's the joy. We enjoy doing what we do, so we're happy to have the opportunity to serve you the way we are doing. And as we grow the community, we would like to plead that when you are trying to make a contribution, keep it straight, keep it short, not more than 2 minutes, max 2 minutes, so that we can have as many contributions as possible and then so that we have rich experience as it is takeable. And on our social media handles, we are available to keep the conversation going. I already mentioned the Telegram, the instant messaging. And as we go bigger, we are hoping that we can also afford people the opportunity to build their capacity and join the backroom staff for what we're doing. So once again, thank you very much for coming. And I'm very excited about this program, about today's edition. Now, today, what are we focusing on? We started a series in February. It's called All Round Wellness in an Unwell Economy. I do not know what part of the world you are watching from, but I am certain that no area of intensity and the impact on the citizenry. So, hello, look like I went off briefly. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
It looks like my connection went off very briefly. So I was saying that in Nigeria, the impact has been very severe on the average Nigerian. And like you also will notice that on the average, I'm not sure there's any country where election is holding and economy is not on the ballot. So economy has a lot of impact on everything else. And in this very unwell, this very sick economy, the question we are trying to answer is, how do we achieve all-round wellness in this seriously sick economy? Like I mentioned, this series started in February, as you can see in the inaugural flyer that I'm showing here. And since that time, in March, we did the medical wellness. And this month, April, we are moving to something else, which is the mental wellness. I will come to that in a bit, but the idea is that we will go on to nutritional, and this nutritional, I'll speak about it when we are closing, has a very deep and rich slant to it. You don't want to miss it. There's also the physical wellness, and then we end it with the financial wellness. All right? So for the mentor that we're having today, my thought around it is that we are going to approach it from two perspectives. Dr. Wumi, as I will introduce her shortly, will take the first. Depending on how far we're able to go today, I'm hoping that we probably will still need to bring somebody from the clinical diagnostics point of view, the psychiatry, psychological angle, but we'll see how far we can reach today, because we don't like having the programs to go too far per time. So, but we'll see how that goes. So somewhere in the middle of this, there's a chance that there will still be another mental wellness. And why is this important? I used to be a very troublesome boy. I'm not sure what part of my body I've not broken. I've broken my hand. I think I've broken both hands. Both hands have been in POP at some point. I've broken my leg, my right leg like twice. But you know, those things are easy. You break your bone, doctors will come, they set it. Sometimes they introduce braces, they introduce metal, they introduce all sorts of things. Even when you have heart failure, there's something called pacemaker now. Doctor will help me later. They put it in your heart to measure your heartbeat, and when it looks like it's failing, it kicks in and keeps your heart beating. When it is physical, it is easier to deal with. But you see, the battle that we fight between these are two earlobes. They're the worst form of battle. And in psychology, there's something we call psychosoma, where the cycle affects the body, which is the soma. Those ones are tough. And depending on the society that you live, they are very difficult to deal with because different societies have different perceptions, different orientations about mental health, psychological challenges. And that is why we know many people are not, it's a tough thing for most people to go and say psychologist, not to talk of go to say psychiatrist, but these issues are real. So one of the benefits of running this kind of program open and free is that it helps to take away the stigma of somebody reporting to say something is going on in my head and I need help for it. Therefore, if you know somebody that should be on this program, somebody that is close to you, that you're aware of their struggles, because it affects everybody, it's not too late for you to send them the link to quickly register and join, because the sweet thing about mental wellness or mental challenges or psychological challenges is that they are usually also much easier to deal with if you catch it early. You know, how many people have felt very down and overwhelmed, and you just meet a good friend, just says a few things that you already knew before then, but just a reminder, put a spin on it and gives you an encouragement. Well, you are going to overcome this, remember that. And before you know it, that heaviness just lifts. Or like setting the bone that you have to wait how many weeks, 8 weeks, 6 weeks before they check it. It's easier to deal with when you catch it early. So you may want to send this to somebody to quickly join, because we are just getting into the meat of the matter. And that is what we are focusing on today, mental wellness. To lay foundation for Dr. Wumi that I'll talk about in a bit, I've gone through this before. I think it's a good point to tell anybody on this call or on this episode who has missed the last 2 episodes that we have a YouTube channel and we have a lot of content there, but the last 2 episodes are also there. My producer will drop the link on the chat here. It will also drop the link to the Telegram group which you can join, and you'll find all the history of what we've done there. But the whole idea is, if you missed the last 2 that laid the foundation for what we're exploring today, I encourage you to please go and watch those videos. The YouTube channel is Development, Empowerment, and Leadership Initiatives, called DLI. If you check your chat now, in the course of this episode, you are going to find it there. So what I'm going to do in the next 2-3 minutes is just paraphrase what we did for the first episode and a portion of what we did for the second episode. If you want to get the full dosage, I encourage you to go there. You will find those 2 episodes and many more other content that will be very useful to you. So we are talking about wellness, complete wellness. And this, I think, is the World Health Organization definition of health. And it says it goes beyond just the absence of sickness. Being healthy is not just to say, at least I don't have malaria, I don't have headache, I don't have leg break. When you talk about health, it has to do with the physical, it has to do with the mental, it has to do with the social. And that is what is informing our own approach of saying wellness goes beyond, I do not have any medical condition. But what you find is that when anyone is going through things like this, I just came out of a program and I was talking to the audience there that what makes the cost of living crisis difficult, or when you are living in an economy that is troubled, is not even just so much about where you are today, your challenges, your needs, the things you're not able to get. Many times it is the anxiety of, you lift up your head, you look forward, and you really can't seem to see the end in sight. You can't seem to see how you will get out of it or where the solution lies. That is what makes economic challenges a difficult thing to deal with. And depending on the different coping techniques that anybody may have, it is real. it's a lot of problem that everybody has to, at some point in time, confront. So when you look at the downturn, for some is their job, for some is their business, for some it is the health condition that they have that is aggravated by anxiety, or how do I continue to fund this treatment? How do I continue to care for this? For some, it's about housing. This list is not exhaustive, but whatever it is that you are dealing with, what we are here to tell you this week, what we are here to tell you since we started, what we will be telling you in the weeks ahead and in the months ahead is that you can actually be well. You can achieve wellness. You can, even beyond wellness, build strength in this journey. Because really, the only way you build muscle is by applying pressure against it. That's all. So people go to the gym and they're lifting those dumbbells, and they're lifting those very heavy weights. It is when you push against big weight that your muscle develops capacity. So I'm very, very heavy when it comes to the mind, but I'm going to resist the temptation to try and get into the details. I'll leave that to Dr. Wumi to do justice to that. But generally speaking, if we are to try to tease out and distill and dimension wellness, we are talking about healthy habits. Okay? Not once in a while. That's why we call it habits. It's repetitive, it's on auto. So, in the course of this mentor, we are going to be checking those things. How do you audit your habit? How do you audit your pattern? How do you find those things that are draining you, that are leading you to becoming unwell? How do you ensure that you build fresh patterns? I don't want to go into too much detail. So it's about the habits that you are building, and it's about what you can do to ensure that you are thriving. So the focus of this program is not just surviving. It's not just patching it up or patching it through. The focus is, how do you thrive? How do you flourish? How do you become a better you, even in this time? You may not believe it. Right inside this situation that we are in, or that the whole world is dealing with right now, there are those who are legitimately becoming billionaires just because instead of being consumed by the problem, they are finding ways to consume the problem and turn it into solutions and find solutions for the problem. So it's about that process of going beyond just trying to survive to thriving. And how do you get there? It is not something you do once in a while. It's an active process. It starts with your awareness. It continues with the choices that you are making. All right. And this is what we want to focus on in this series. I encourage you seriously to go back and watch last episode about medical. You will find out that this is well laid out in that particular episode. Okay, so let me move along. I want to get out of here and just keep quiet and listen. However, everything that we've said, from medical to mental to nutritional to physical to financial, there are just two broad paths of simplicity. The mind is where we are right now. Everything else has to do with what I call motion. Whether you're taking care of yourself medically, whether you're trying to be physical, whether you're trying to learn what to eat, how to eat, whether you're trying to save, you're trying to invest, all that is on the external. The battle of the mind is the worst battle. And that is why, like I said, if we have to, we will run it twice. So we've done March, we've done April, which is where we are in today. The Lord tarrying and giving us grace. Next month, we will go to nutritional. We may then now have to come back to mental before we go to physical. But we are determined to do proper justice to the mental side of things so that everybody can get strength, everybody can get health on how to look after their health, because in building anything, you need to lay the right foundation for it. And if you want to really be wealthy, the foundation for wealth is your health, because without health, everything else is nothing. Somebody said, health may not be everything, but without health, everything else is nothing. Everything else is zero. So you need, therefore, to pay attention to your wellness and be ready to take responsibility for it. When we speak about habits, when we speak about choices, it's with you. It got nothing to do with government. It got nothing to do, because you can't control what happens to you. The only thing you can control is how you respond to it. So it's about you taking that responsibility, making up your mind to seize the rein and no longer be a passive driver in your own life, by your choices, by your habits, by how you function. So on that note, I think it's a good time, fantastic, to hand over to our guest speaker. Her name is Dr. Wumi Iyaoromi. Dr. Wumi Iyaoromi. She's joining us out of Canada. And you may go ahead and share your screen now, madam, so that I can see you have a few slides on your self-introduction, so I won't bother to introduce you. So please just go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'm all ears as everybody else, waiting to learn and to be educated from your wealth of experience. Thank you so much for joining us today. Very, very much appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just trying to put in slideshow. Just hold on. Okay. Just a minute.
Is it not the one that's by your share?
Yeah.
Down the button, present. By
Yeah.
your share.
Share.
Top right. Top right. Top right.
Okay. Yeah.
Present.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I think that should be it.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
Hello, everyone. My name is, okay, so as we know, the top, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just a minute. Can you see me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to be sure. Okay. So, as our host has told us, we're talking today about wellness, mental wellness, actually, in an unwell economy. And by way of introduction, my name is Wumi Iyaoromi. The K is silent, it's Iyaoromi, but the K is silent. It's not, it's Iyaoromi. I'm a family physician with so 25 years, actually over 25 years of experience in being a medical doctor. I'm currently practicing as a family physician in Edmonton, Alberta. And today we are going to focus mainly on mental wellness in an unwell economy. Okay. So we're going to be talking about understanding the unwell economy, because when we understand a problem, then the solution is not far. And we'll talk about the impact on our mental health. Like our host said, our perception of our situation and the way we interpret it is very important in how we can cope emotionally and mentally. So you hear me using mental, emotional interchangeably. And what are the effects on our mental health, the current economic situation all over the world, in Nigeria and all other parts of the world? What effect does it have on our mental health? And then in the midst of these challenges, looking at opportunities that can even be available for our personal growth is very important. And then the coping strategies and the resilience we need to survive in the unwell economy. So we'll talk about that. But before we go into that, I'll ask everybody, please, everyone should participate. What is one thing that brings you joy or peace during challenging times? Please, you can just put it in the chat box, and then our moderator, please, if you can read it out, just a minute or two.
Yes, ma'am, I got you. As I get the responses,
Okay.
I'll read.
I think my screen has stopped sharing. Let me go back.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you are
So
back.
please tell us.
What is one thing that makes you happy? That lifts your spirit, that lifts your mood?
During challenges, during difficult times that, some people don't have. So this might be a food for thought. What is that?
Aziz Lawal said, family, friends time. John Titiloye said, the assurance that everything will work out.
Good.
Ogale said, good health. Okay.
Okay.
Christabel said, word of God.
Thank you. Okay, so let's go. I will share mine with you. Maybe just a few.
Yes, so you said it, that dancing is your escape.
So that is one of the things that makes me happy, even when everything is kind of not going well, when I just have opportunity to dance. So that's, if I go to a party, it's to dance. If I'm in the house, when things are, any opportunity to dance, could be praise and worship, it could be secular music, but I love to dance. Not that I know how to dance. I always joke about myself that I dance more in my head than a physical dancing. So that is one thing. So if we haven't found out that thing that, whatever the situation is going on around us and brings us out of that mood, a healthy thing, then we need to find it. It's very, very important. It was during COVID, with everything happening, the lockdown, these challenges and all, it made me reflect on a lot of things about what makes me happy. Is one of them I shared, dancing. What I'm doing now, talking about wellness, no matter how tired I am, no matter how difficult things are, once I say, oh, let me write something, let me post something on wellness, I'm excited about it. So we need to find that thing that makes us happy, that gives us joy. Some people say, oh, if I buy something new and all that, but we know that those things are not sustainable. And you find out that you even spend more money doing that. Some people will say, oh, I just need a bottle of Coke. It's not healthy. Some people will say, once I take 2 or 3 drinks of beer, they are not healthy things. So we need to find those healthy things that makes us happy, even when things are not going on well. And we all know the current economic situation, right? And then it's really contributing to the situation we find ourselves in most part of the world now. People are losing jobs. There's decreased purchasing power. Businesses are closing, Just 1 month notice, sometimes 3 months notice, we're sorry, we're downsizing. And people lose their jobs, things that they have not planned for. And then the uncertainty and financial stress too, that these situations are brought up. The bills are rising, even though the government, I see I read on the internet that this government is trying to see that the sellers bring down the prices of commodities, because even though the dollar is coming down, but you see that people are still selling at very high prices. And then health challenges to environmental factors. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Environmental factors and all the other things happening around, as it's really stressful, and we know that these situations are real. These situations are real. They are not something that not everybody is facing. So understanding that, okay, these things are there. It's not as if we're just imagining them. They are there. And if we look around the news everywhere, it's all about negative, negative, negative. And that is very distressing and impact on our ability to cope and function. So all these things happening around, what impact does it have on our mental health? And like I said, it depends on our perception and interpretation. Is it negative? Is it positive? Do we feel powerless and hopeless? And it's difficult for us not to be anxious about things when there are school fees to pay, house rent, how do I commute to work? I have elderly parents. I have junior ones that I have to send to school. I'm also a student myself. And there's really no such extra source of income. How do I go about this? And we keep hoping and believing that the future will be better. But before we get to the future, what can we do now to make things for us to, because if the mental health is not okay, then we can't function. If we're sad, if we're frustrated, if we're anxious, things can't move on well. And sometimes, because of the environment we find ourselves, somewhere like where we don't have much social support and security, like in Nigeria, you find out that you're on your own. There are no extra income support for people that are out of job and things like that. So it starts affecting our self-esteem. And we start feeling that these people making money, these people progressing, do they have two heads? Or is it my village people? And then that process might lead us to start looking for help, going to prayer houses, looking for a vision for the future. And then we could become vulnerable. Sometimes these people say, oh, bring this person is in charge of your problem. And it just continues to affect us and even make us go deeper and deeper down mental decline. So we need to be careful. We need to be aware of these things and the impact they have on our overall well-being. And some of the negative effects of economic challenges on mental health: depression, we'll talk more in details about it, anxiety, suicidal ideations. And we found out that the suicide is rising almost every day now. You hear somebody killed themselves and things like that. And then also there's that risk of using substances, using alcohol in excess as a form of coping mechanism. That's why I asked earlier, what is that thing that can make you happy even when everything is down? And if we don't have, or gives us joy, if we don't have, then we all have, but we need to look inside, think about it, and use that as a coping mechanism instead of things that can be destructive to our overall health. So despite challenges and the economic downturns, there is also the opportunity for personal growth. We should be aware of that we are not alone in the midst of the situation that is happening, the whole thing, because if our mental health is not well taken care of, then we cannot function. Even some people in the process, our host mentioned somatoform, psychosomatoform issues. The psychological aspect is psycho, somatoform is physical body. You find out some people presenting with symptoms. They have the symptoms, heart racing very fast, things crawling around the body, headache nonstop. They do all the tests, they do CT, they do MRI, they can't go to work, they're not productive, they can't even have any source of income, and they do all the tests and they tell them there's nothing wrong.
They're not functional, they can't function effectively.
Pardon? Hello?
I said they can't function effectively. Sorry.
Yes, they can't function effectively. And you find out that
Can you hear me?
And they keep going that way. And so you see what is happening. Doctors have done, even some doctors that don't have much skills and competence in mental health, to say, this one is not a hospital matter. Go and talk to your family people or go to the village, But the main issue is that this economic downturn has significantly impacted on their emotional and mental health that is causing those symptoms. And to avoid this mental health decline, we need to think of ways to be able to cope well in our current economic situation that we find ourselves. Is it loss of job? Is it reduced income with the increase in prices of commodities? What can we do in the now? Sometimes it's very, we just moved to Canada in 2018. I was in Nigeria all through, and I found that some people at the end of the year, they are distressed about house rent. They reach out to families, to friends that I can't pay my house rent. And sometimes I wonder, I know sometimes challenges happen that we don't prepare for, but if every year we have to ask people for house rent, to pay for house rent, then there's a problem. Am I staying in an accommodation that I can't afford? Do I need to, maybe like here in Canada, sometimes we find 2-3 families living together, or 2-3 single people living together in an accommodation to share bills. Do we need to start thinking of that in Nigeria? And then we find out that the job we're doing, the cost of transportation is way much more than the take home for the month. So those are some of the things we need to really look at. And then my current job, the amount I'm getting from my salary, it can't sustain me long term. Do I need to develop new skills? To be able to, this one is not going back to school. Some people, okay, when I do my first degree, I have to do master's, I have to do PhD. Maybe after my PhD, I'll become a lecturer and all that. I'll be able to earn a lot of money. It might not work that way. It might just be some skills, some talent you have, develop it. In this era of internet, social media, there are a lot of things we can do. Or use your skills in baking, in cooking, and different things. Do I need to consider that? And then we need to have that change of mindset that, look, although everything negative is happening, but building resilience that, look, things will work out, because our mindset too is also very important. And to be able to adapt. Some people now, they say, oh, I have to pay for DSTV every month. I have to, there are a lot of things that we have to really put down and say, are these needs or wants? We need to be intentional about it, strategize, write them down, needs and wants. Those that fall on the things that we don't need, we should not put too much pressure on ourselves. For women, I don't think it really happens to men like that. Ashoibi, almost every Saturday, we have a function that we have to take Ashoibi. So we have to think about it. Can I just take the gele and the epele instead of buying the whole thing if I have the same color? Just working around things to cope with what we have. We know our income. We don't need to, it's not that we are praying for, we have an idea of how much we make in a month or in a year. And then living within our means will significantly help us to be able to cope better mentally. Because when all the stresses about paying bills and all really gets to us, then we are not able to function mentally. We become stressed. We can't sleep. Sometimes we can't eat or we overeat. So all these factors, we can't work and all these things, pain all over the body, it affects us. So we need to plan and prepare very well so that these factors don't affect our mental health. And then we also have to find meaning and purpose in challenging situations. Okay, I've just lost my job. What do I need to do now? Before I get another job, what can I do? The little savings I have, what can I use it for? And it is very important for us to have some money that we, even no matter how much our salary is, to save something small that we can fall on during emergencies. It is very, very key, no matter what our earnings are. If we're not able to, then we need to consider maybe changing the job or adding extra skills. Some people do 3, 4, 5 jobs. It's not healthy for our mental health. Before 2-3 months ago, I just came to this country. I have bills to pay. It has to be money first, other second. But I found out that was affecting my health significantly. And if you look at it, if we can't function well, then we can't make the money. If I work and make that money and I break down, at the end of the day, cumulatively, I might not even have much to make. But if I work within my means and I'm able to make sustainable income, that is better. So those are some of the things we need to consider. So what are the effects on our mental health, the negative outcomes? Depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, substance and alcohol use as coping mechanism. Am I going back? Okay. Let's talk about depression. Please, I wanted to share the link. Let me try. Or somebody can help us put the link, the PHQ-9 and GAD-7 questionnaire in PDF format. Please, if you can put it in the chat box so that people can look at it and score themselves. You have an idea. The depression, the generalized anxiety, the GAD one is for generalized anxiety disorder 7 and the PHQ-9, and the interpretation is there just to have an idea of, is your mood low? Do you find out that you have lost interest in things that you usually love to do? Do you avoid social interaction? Maybe you've been a very social person before. These are depressive symptoms. Do you feel guilty about the things that are happening to you? Self-guilt. Do you feel like ending it all? These are signs of depression. And for anxiety, like I mentioned before, some people will have their heart racing, sweating a lot, body shaking, panicking. And a lot of people even present to the emergency department for anxiety-related things that will feel like heart attack. So we need to notice all these things. And then lots of people, youths, even adults are now using substances, cannabis, mushroom, crystal meth, all those things to cope. And these substances, at the end of the day, causes dependence, tolerance that you can't do without them. And after a while, they start affecting the nervous system, the heart, the blood vessels, and just cause decline in not just the mental health, also the physical health. And people also use alcohol to cope. If we find ourselves in these situations, we need to seek for help, because if not, things might really decline significantly. I'll pause here and ask if we have any questions.
Yes, I do. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Please, can you repeat the links again? GAD-7, PHQ-9, is that it?
GAD-7, PHQ-9 questionnaires.
Okay, these are two different questionnaires, correct?
Yes, PHQ-9 is for depression, patient health questionnaire 9, that's for depression. Then GAD-7 is for anxiety. It's a self-administered screening
Self-evaluation.
tool.
Yes, self-administered.
Yes. Okay.
Please, the floor is open. You have a question. If you're in a quiet place, you can unmute and talk. I prefer that. If you are not in a quiet place, you can just drop your question and then I will be the interpreter to the facilitator. And if there is no question now, then we kind of go on and deal with that at the end of the program. So, but you got the floor. If you can talk, unmute and talk. If not, type your question. If not, then we just proceed.
Okay. Any questions?
All right, I don't have any questions. So
okay. So let's go ahead. Okay, we've talked about this. Okay.
And by the way, the producer has put the questionnaire PDF in the chat room, so you may just want to quickly download, because once the session ends, all the comments and everything there will go off. So just as an information, please go ahead, Doc.
Okay, thank you. So the other strategies for coping with economic stressors and fostering resilience. We talked about resilience. That is that determination that things will work for me, despite the challenges. If there's no challenges, there will not be anything that we're talking about resilience. You need to build a support network. No man is an island. We need to build, it is very, very key. People joke about besties. Oh, my bestie did this, my bestie did that. You need those besties, one or two, for your personal and emotional support. I also mentioned about talking to a friend and things like that. You need that one person or two that when things are not going on well, you can just rant. The person doesn't have to tell you what to do, but a listening ear. It could be your spouse, it could be a friend, a family member, but that person you trust that will not judge you, that person that will not interrupt you, that person that will not say, oh, God is doing my own, no, I don't know what is even happening. God might be doing their own, but not somebody that will be rubbing things on your face that, oh, you are not good enough or you are not doing things well. Somebody to just support you. That is for your personal life. In terms of your career, your profession, you also need that support network. Networking is very, very important in this age, in this time, because if you don't have information is very key. If you don't have information, then you will not know what to do. It's not about, I don't want to tell anybody my idea. I don't want to do this. Life doesn't work that way. So we need to build a good support system, and then we need to identify things, red flags in relationships, in the place of work. You know, if you are in a relationship, a friend of spousal relationship that is always negative, you know, pulling you down, gaslighting, oh, you are not good enough. Don't you know that you can't do this and all that? We need to redefine those relationships. We need to make sure that to be intentional about relationships, because it significantly impacts on our mental health, not knowing. So we need to really know about that. And then practicing mindfulness and stress and having stress management techniques. There are a lot of them online, YouTube, you know, we can look through them. You know, somebody mentioned one of the things that gives them joy, I think, being thankful or gratitude. That helps too. You know, have a journal and write out each day something you are grateful for. Even if nothing happens that day, just waking up that day is something to be thankful for. So having a journal and writing down things that you are grateful for each day. Even sometimes you might just write, well, this day didn't go on well, but I'm thankful that this day has gone. I believe tomorrow will be better. And then those times we're not feeling too good, get our gratitude journal. That might help too. And then we must have techniques that we use in managing stress. When we have stressful situations around, what do I need to do? You know, our last is 15 years old. She wants to register in all the sports that is possible. And we are working parents. How do I take you to all the sports? How the financial implication too. So that you have to pick like one or two. You know, we have to define things so that we don't get stressed. Everybody, and I always tell people, I don't know if I said it the last time, there's a big difference between being nice and kind. I don't know if we are all Yorubas, yeah, or I will explain it if we're not all Yorubas. If somebody is nice, that person is a mumu, you know, somebody that they can push anywhere. And if I don't know about the Quran, but the Bible talks about being kind. So when people say people are nice, it's people they can push anywhere. The person, oh, you're so nice, you do this. Don't push yourself for anyone. Always, and self-care is not selfishness. It's different. Saying, oh, it's all about myself, that is not healthy. We have to watch out for other people too. But if it is significantly affecting you, that is causing stress, then you have to define. I also say no is a complete sentence, please. You don't have to explain anything to anybody if they don't need your explanation. Say it in a nice way. Unfortunately, I would have loved to help, but at this time, I'm not able to do X, Y, Z. So each one of us, we need to have stress management techniques. If you can't develop one for yourself, seek expert advice. How do I cope with stress? We all have individual stressors, and so it has to be individualized. Practicing mindfulness, meditation. Sometimes people use religious ones, sometimes people use secular ones, whatever one that works for you. And like I said, we need to seek professional help, not that I can do it by myself. Sometimes our pastors, our spiritual leaders might not be the best people to reach out to because they don't have those skills. It's not as if they are bad people, but I found out that most of us tend to lean more to our spiritual mentors when we are stressed and all that. That is fine, but do they have those skills? Have they been equipped to be able to help us at that time, apart from praying for us and reading, sharing the word of God with us? We might need some extra support. And then cultivating a positive mindset and gratitude. It's not something that happens in a day. It has to be a shift of mind. We need to have a significant shift in our mindset. Our environment, especially in Nigeria, doesn't really promote positive mindset because everything around is negative. Some churches, there's no one prayer they will not say, there's somebody in your village that is causing problem for you. So pray, let all of them die and those kind of things. That can be overwhelming on our emotions. When we always feel that everyone is doing me, I can't eat here, I can't do this here, I can't breathe, it's stressful on the mind. Oh, this is my financial issue I'm in now. It is somebody from the village that is causing it for me. Have I looked inward to see, do I have enough skills? Do I need to change my job? What do I need to do to be a better person while I'm praying and trusting God? Sometimes I find it very, I'm not against any religion or anything, but I find out that spirituality and religion is a big issue for us that is also affecting us in Nigeria. A trader that needs to open a shop or place of business at 8 o'clock has a prayer program from 7 to 12. And most of the customers or clients will come between 8 and 12. So how does, and then we are praying every day for God to prosper us. I think there should always be a balance in whatever we're doing. So we need to cultivate positive mindset, and I said, that we have to be grateful and maybe have a gratitude journal if that will work for us. So I've spoken about depression, anxiety. There's also something called adjustment disorder that can also impact on our mental health when there are economic challenges, maybe loss of a job, loss of a loved one, health issues of family members, and then, adjusting, like a woman becoming a widow or a man becoming a widower, and it's affecting their financial income. Adjusting to the new situation might be quite stressful. Something, maybe they have to sell all their cars, start using public transport. There's nothing wrong in it. But we see it, the mindset and our environment is that, this person, their own has finished, in quotes. Life happens, and it can happen to anyone. But embracing our current situation and having that positive attitude towards life will help us to be able to calm down, think positively, and know what next to do. And some people cut themselves, engage in, take excess of a medication and things like that because of the situation. Because when the mental health keeps declining, when the depression symptoms or anxiety symptoms keep getting worse, then there's that tendency to want to end it all and say, oh, I'm tired of life. Those situations are real, and it's not as if anyone is pretending. So before it gets that bad, we should seek for help. Okay, I've talked about, I don't know why it's going back. Okay. So what we've said, when those challenges are there, we have to recognize that there'll be negative thoughts, there'll be negative things, and then there'll be a distortion in the way we think, in our cognition, in the way we reason. It's going to happen, but we should not dwell on that. We should, when it happens, okay, this is my current situation. What do I need to put in place? And then, like I said, develop coping skills and ways to solve problems as they come. And let us take one day at a time. Seeking for support is also very important. And then we should be kind to ourselves. We should not be too hard on ourselves. That is also very important. Let us thank God for our journeys. Oh, I'm here now. It's challenging, but I'm grateful. I know it. Don't let us, how can you finish school for 15 years, 10 years, nothing has happened. Let us be kind to ourselves. So it's also very important. Let us love. We cannot expect other people to love us if we don't love ourselves. People will treat us the way we treat ourselves. If we look down on ourselves, people will look down on us. Some people now, they go for a job interview and they say, oh, how much do you think you estimate your gross income or your net income for the year should be? And we'll be calling low figures because we say, let me just get this job. And then when we get there now, we'll be dissatisfied that, they pay me this salary. But we'll not know that we were the one that bargained for it. We should think good about ourselves, no matter the situation we are in, and avoid those people that will look down on us, that will make us feel less of ourselves. I don't know why it's going back. Okay. So I will pause here with this quote here. In terms of economic uncertainty, our greatest investment should be on our mental resilience. Let's navigate waves of change with unwavering determination and cultivate a mindset of abundance amidst diversity. It's still about mindset, you know. It's still about our mindset. How do we perceive the situation around us? Like I also said, a lot of people are still making money, progressing in their career, financially, economically, even during this period. And we can also be one of them. So we need to take care of our mental health to be able to be productive in an unwell economy. So I'll stop here, and then if there are any questions or any areas that we want us to address, let me know.
Thank you very much, Doc. So floor is open. Can we have questions, if there's any? You can unmute or you can type. You can unmute or you can type. So I have a question.
Okay.
I have had the privilege. Can you hear me, Doc?
Yes, I can.
I've had the privilege. I'm very, 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 very heavy on this. Very heavy on this. And I've had the privilege of sharing this different fora. And one common question I keep getting it. People think, so what would you say about those who think that trying to find the positive in any environment is amount to self-deception? They will keep there. So somebody says, so things are bad, and you say, hey, what? It's an opportunity for you to, there's a reason why this is happening. It's an opportunity for you to find that reason and grow from it. And some people think that that only translates to self-deception. What would you say to such people who think that finding a positive meaning, a positive interpretation to things is the same as self-deception?
I have a different understanding of it. Finding meaning to think negatives around as a self-deception, because everything, any excuse me, any situation we find ourselves, it depends on the meaning we give to it. It's a personal choice. Any situation we find ourselves, like, it's just like half cup full and what the other one they say, the way we look at the cup.
Glass half full or glass half empty.
Yes. So it's any situation that happens, it's the way we look at it. Some people might look at it that way. And if you look at, I've not checked if there's any data on that people that have that mindset of that belief, things are not likely to work for them. It's not wrong that, oh, this is my reality, you know, oh, this is my reality. Things are not working the way they are supposed to. I'm not deceiving myself. I know that things are not working well. That's okay, but that's where it ends. It's going to stop. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm deceiving myself by thinking positive or wishing that things will be better. It's not that I'm deceiving myself. That is what I want for myself, and that is what I'm going to keep working towards. So for me, I don't think it's self-deception. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, any other question? I was expecting more. Or don't think, that's why I started by asking. Or do people think that when they ask questions now, they will think that it's the situation going on with them? No. No. So
someone's hand is up. Someone's hand is up. Aziza Lawal.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Aziza, please go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Doc.
Good
evening.
Thank
you very much for this session. So my question is based off of your presentation, right? You at first, when tmak came on, he spoke about changing your situation, changing your outlook on your situation, and also you spoke a little bit on that, like in the instance where something happens and you try to look for something positive in what has happened so that you can move forward, basically forge ahead and not dwell on the negative ends of things. So now, why it's basically like a conversation, more like a question, right? So there's adjustment disorder, like you said, that may affect one's mental health. So it means that at the point where that thing happened, you're not able to like, okay, this has happened. I'm going to just move on and look on the positive, because there's that part of you or your mental health that is affected by the adjustment of the situation. So I'm just saying, and of course there isn't like a timeline for when your mental health would decide that, okay, we're done adjusting to this situation, we're about to look into the positive. So I'm just maybe asking, how do you cope with something that there's a shift, there's a change in what is happening, yet it's affecting you, and also there's this part of your mental health that relies on you moving forward and not focusing on what is happening.
Yeah.
So I'm having a bit of trouble managing those two together, because I'm just saying, like, this happens to me often, right? Like something happens and my mood is spoiled, and I'm still trying to maybe bask in what has happened and feel like, okay, my anger is justified, or the reason why I'm feeling this way, and then but maybe it's the person that did it to me has moved on and it's feeling good. It maybe not good, but maybe the person feels like everything is all right, but me, I'm still feeling bad about what has happened. So I don't know if I've communicated my concern. I don't know.
You have. Thank you for it. It's a
Thank you so
very
much.
great, yes. Thank you for the question. Yeah, it can be, I'll address both. If I get it right, I'll address them separately. The first one that, okay, nobody knows how long that period of adjustment will take place for, and then how do you now move on afterwards? Or when do you start, but there's normal period, there's an acceptable period where, or there's a timeline, and it's different for everyone, when they should be able to move on, in quotes. But some people can't. And then when it starts significantly affecting your ability to cope and function with everyday activity, then it's concerning. It's going on for more than maybe 3 months, 1 year, 2 years, then something needs to be done. Everybody goes through that period. You are upset with what has happened, the situation, relationship, whatever. But one has to now, if one is not able to come out of it, still hurt, angry, affecting sleep and all that, one needs to seek for help. But for me, people have different ways of coping. What I've found that is, before, when something I don't like happens to me, I'll withdraw. I want to be alone, and things get worse. A friend of mine reminded me, 2 friends, I finished med school in 1991. This incident happened in 2001, I think 2020, 2000 and 2000, between 2000. And my friends that were very close to me, we've not seen in over 20 years. And I think one of them I reconnected with them last year, 2 years ago. The first thing, when we spoke, the first thing they said is, we knew something was happening to you at that time. We wanted to reach out to you, but you didn't allow us. And it was really bad. It lasted for years. It affected my self-esteem. I can say things, I was going on in my career, I got married and everything, but really, really impacted on me, the person, my self-esteem and everything. I can say it was around COVID time that I started discovering myself and then having good friends and people around me. So when I realized that how long that took me to recover, now I don't, when anything happens to me, I just reach out to my besties or talk to my husband about it. And I don't, because I know that is negative for me. So those things that we do to cope that would affect us negatively, we need to work on that. Then the other one you mentioned, maybe the person that hurt us has moved on and all that. I personally, it might be different for different people. I found out that you have to have closure yourself. Even if the person apologizes sometimes, we still feel hurt. So how can I move on? I will also use myself, I like to use myself as a personal example. My father was not there to take care of us. And he had more funds at that time than my mom. So I was very bitter for a very long time. And he has apologized 10,000 times. I'm so sorry. I will keep asking the same question. Wow. Until I said, look, you have to find a way. And I'm a Christian. I know I have to forgive. And I keep telling myself, I'll forgive. It was Father's Day. And even when I'm sending a text to my dad, it was, I will say, good afternoon, sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do as a daughter to him. But that connection, because I was still like, why? It was Father's Day a couple of years ago. I wanted to post my husband, Happy Father's Day. But I said, if I don't post my dad, I can't say dad. I said, just call him dad and set yourself free. And when I typed that word dad, the burden went off me. So we really need to, I was even planning before that, if all these things I'm trying to do doesn't work, I have to seek for help, because I was getting for how many years now? So we need to, I found out that closure, people say when the person apologizes, sometimes it doesn't work out. You have to find closure yourself. And you even be more upset when you see that the person has moved on, because they feel that they haven't done anything wrong. And if you tell somebody that, oh, you've hurt me, and they say I didn't do anything wrong, you can't change their mind. You have to work on yourself that, look, this is my perception of what somebody has done to me. I have to move on. I mustn't allow this person to pull me down, affect me emotionally, because I have a life. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what I advise. Hello?
Thank you very much, Doc. Aziz, does that help?
Did that help? Aziza?
Aziza, did that help? You are muted in case you are talking.
Yes.
Yes, I dropped a message on the chat.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, it did. Okay, so if I can just add a few things. One of the things that I've found very useful for me, I have a lot of story to tell. Those who are close, they know a bit of my story. But one thing I've found that really helps me is to know that whatever doesn't solve my problem, I don't do it. So when something happens, part of my coping technique is to say, what can you do about it now? If there is something, get going. If there is nothing, then there is no point dwelling on it. Because when you talk about, sometimes, I'm a perfectionist, and that's one of the biggest liability of my personality, even though it has a strength. I brood on things that are not done well. I choke on things that are not done well. Until a couple of years ago, I just started building these techniques to say, okay, the design of this world is not perfect. So stop deceiving yourself that it is within your range. It's okay to push for it, but don't consume yourself because, I didn't say that very well. I didn't deal with this very well. This outcome I could have done better. So once I ask, something goes wrong, it doesn't matter how bad it is, it doesn't matter how woeful it is. The first question is, what can you do about it? Start and scan. If there's nothing I can do about it, I just brace up and say, well, that's a learning point. What can I learn to make sure it doesn't happen again? I move on. And I found out that slowly I've gained mastery over that I no longer now have to sit and brood and beat myself up endlessly about it. And the energy that would have gone into those self-consumption are quickly converted into the next bit to say, okay, let's go again on the next item and see how far we can go. So I don't know if that adds to anything, but just my little contribution to that.
I think Titi Awuni is raising.
Titi Awuni is raising her hand.
Hey, hi everybody. Thank you,
Hello.
Doc, for
Good
sharing.
evening, Titi.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for sharing. And yeah, like Tmak said, I'm also a perfectionist and I beat so hard on myself. So I'm learning to take it one step at a time. Then in that, for Doctor, my question is, are there any other specific resources or tools that you can recommend for us to further explore? Or do you render services? Because you want to try to relate. I've here in the US, I see on the page, you always put on like BetterHelp, but you're being careful not to put all this information out there, so you're not being tagged or given prescriptions and stuff like that. So I just want to know if there are resources that can be recommended or shared on the platform.
Yes,
on
so
your website.
Yes, so okay, this, I'll go back to this, but let me just go to, this is call to action. I'll also ask those of us that were around last time, if we, so you can connect with me on Instagram. You can take a screenshot of the page on drwumiwellness@gmail.com, by email, my website, and then we're on Instagram and Facebook as Dr. Wumi Wellness. So you can connect with that. And then I also have people that I work with in terms of, if you need is a therapist that, is maybe more culturally inclined to Africans, religious background, that I can also refer to, depending on people's individual needs. So we can make it personal. Thank you. Did I answer the question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you more.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So our call to action, I don't know if there's any other, but let's talk about our call to action. We need to reflect before I go into this. Is anyone of this that's online now that did any call to action on physical wellness in the last 1 month? I will say mine because I did. So anyone, we talked about maybe booking an appointment for wellness check, maybe for women, mammogram, pap smear. Did anyone go to see their doctor to check wellness? Did anybody start doing some more physical activity? Did anyone change their diet? Please, you can put them in the chat box or mute, so raise your hand to talk about it. Did any one of us do anything?
Somebody said, does going to the gym count?
Yes, 100%. It affects.
Yes,
it helps you to release a lot of money.
I did. Olayinka, what did you do? What did you do? What did you did? Tell us.
Yes. Going to gym counts, but it has to be consistent,
Yes.
If you want to do a lifestyle change. Yes.
Yes.
Please, can you share with us?
What did you do?
Yeah, I did. I do's. Can you share with us? If it's okay to share.
I decided to take my physical wellness seriously, and I downloaded an app, Just Fit app, and I did a 1-year subscription to do some daily workouts, and I've been consistent. It gave me a 7 days free trial, and I did it, and I saw that it was.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you for sharing. That's great. So it has to it's about consistency, not intensity, especially those of us that are perfectionists. I know a lot of us are. It's about being regular, even if it's 5-10 minutes.
Sorry?
Are you done, Nika? We heard you, but
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. We heard you.
Okay, so I tried to do the yearly subscription, and for one reason or the other, I was overcharged. So anytime I felt lazy about doing the workout, I remember how much I
the overcharge.
Yes.
Yes.
Die here.
Yes.
So I've been consistent, and I'm grateful for it, and I feel better within my body actually. So thank you for last month.
If you don't mind, this is a crowdsourcing group. You can please drop the link to whatever it is, so others can check it out. Maybe they don't even know how to find what you found, and then they could possibly use it.
Okay, I will. I'll take a screenshot of the app and then post on the Telegram chat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Olubanke said I did. What did you did? Olubanke, can you talk? What did you do? Or do you want to type? Titi said I did, saw my doctor. I've been going out for fun now. Currently, I'm in a Christian picnic.
Oh,
Fantastic.
nice. Yes, that's excellent. So, you know, that's very good. I had my mammogram done. I'm becoming more physically active now. Every morning after my devotion, I make sure I do some dance workouts. That morning time is easier for me than in the evening when I come back from work. So it depends on what works for us. Those of us that love to go to gym, excellent. You know, that's a good one. So
for me, I've been more intentional with water now. And then that's also helped me. I've always been working out, but I have a stronger commitment to it now. So
yes. And I liked what one of the participants said, that pay for that subscription, you know. So sometimes we have to sacrifice or do something that will hurt us before we can be consistent. So there are some other apps. There's the Noom, Noom app. It's about lifestyle too, you know, depending on what you want. You can, if it's just to post in your food, your activities, that the Fitbit, I use Fitbit to count my steps, you know, and I'm always happy when I get over 10,000 steps.
yeah.
Last Saturday, I went for a surprise birthday for a friend. When you see me in a party, you just see me and say, what's wrong with this person? They don't know that I'm counting my steps every opportunity. I had 10,000 steps in the morning. Ashake, the musician, came to Edmonton the last weekend, Saturday in the evening. I went there I had another 10,000 steps. Free 20,000 steps in a day.
Good. Just
So,
like
you know,
that.
so,
Just
yes.
like that.
So any opportunity, we have to be intentional. I have a 50th birthday of a friend's wife to this evening. I hope to I'm looking forward to count my steps. But while going to, I'm telling myself, just keep to fruit, vegetables, water, and protein. Don't eat anything outside that, so that I don't keep adding to the extra pounds. So, you know, just be intentional. Yes. Yeah. So for our call to action for
sorry, there's one last feedback before you go.
Okay.
Olubanke said, changed my eating habit and started going on evening strolls.
Perfect. That's good. That's
okay,
great.
So you can proceed now, ma'am.
Okay. So let's reflect on one small action we can take today to prioritize our mental health, whether it's practicing gratitude or setting boundaries. If we work on just one of these two, it will make a lot of difference. I tell people, I said, I'm not a savior. I'm not Jesus Christ. I can't solve everybody's. I tell myself and some people close to me, you can't solve everybody's problems.
Right.
It is not possible. So we have to be, and let people know. There are some people that, you know, they create a lot of negative energy. What I do now on my WhatsApp, I archive some messages or some people's numbers, because I don't want that negative energy. I don't want to call someone now and say, oh, I'm the last person that called you. You did this. So I will talk about that for like 5-10 minutes before we talk about what we want to talk about. I can't deal with it because it affects me. So, you know, we need to set clear boundaries. Even for our family members, for friends, we can't solve everybody's problem. Oh, I can't do it now. Oh, can you send me XYZ amount of money? I need to do XYZ. I can't do it now. However, if I have the means, and don't promise, don't say next week, when you know that you are not likely to, you don't know if next week the money will come in. As soon as I am able to do it, I will let you know, but I can't tell you when. And if we should keep to our words. If we can't, unfortunately, at this time, I can't do it, and I don't know when I'll be able to do it. We have to learn those things to keep ourselves mentally healthy. Practicing gratitude, having a journal.
No is a complete sentence.
Yes, please. No is a complete sentence. And be more kind. Don't say you want to be nice and solve everybody's problem. It's draining on the mental health. And remember, your well-being is non-negotiable, especially in these uncertain times. Reach out to a friend, loved one, or professional for support. Thank you. So we've talked about that. So, okay. And keep prioritizing your mental wellness.
Please, can I see you jam your hand together on the chat box? Let's jam our hands together for Dr. Wumi. Nice and sweet and straight to the point. Let me see you jam your hand. Thank you, Aziz. I want to see people jamming their hands. Okay, Olubanke jamming her hands. Let's give it up for her. Thank you so much. This still morning out there to stop everything. Usually Saturday is the day when a lot gets done for herself and for her family. She's had to stop all of that, get ready, get the content ready, get herself ready, all of that. Thank you so much, Dr. Wumi, for making all this time. And I like the fact that it's sweet and straight. Anybody with any question that wants to still ask as we are approaching the tmak? Anybody? Anybody? Okay. I love the energy that we've shared today. So I'll just take a few slides just to talk about what's next.
Sorry, please.
So that
Please, can you excuse me? My daughter went for a program and I need to pick her. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine. There are no additional questions for you. Thank you so much, Dr. Wumi. I will catch up with you later.
Thank you.
We owe you a lot of that.
Thank you so much, man. Good having
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Okay, bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
So, I am trying to share my screen so that I can show you where we are in the journey, and then we can pick it up from there. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it.
All right. So this is the roadmap that we're following. We've taken medical and mental, but let me do this quickly. On the group chat, I want to take a quick poll. I have a desire. I'm thinking we should run another episode on mental that will now be more operational. So the structure I have in my head will be around spend a few minutes to work on what does mental health really mean, which she has covered, just to kind of lay a foundation, but more around how does it happen. In my journey and in my interaction, I realized that this mental health conversation creeps up on people without they even being aware of what exactly they're dealing with. So how does it happen? The processing that goes on at the back of the mind that even the owner of the mind is not even aware of. And then when we focus on how it happens, we are then be able to say, okay, what are the signals? How do you then know? It's like when somebody is pregnant, they buy pregnancy kit. Forgive me, that's the example that comes to my head. And then they go and tell us, yes, this person is pregnant. So what are those tests? What are those things that tells you that, oh, there's a problem here? And then coping techniques, the ones you can take care of first before you start thinking of professionals and all those heavy duty stuff. Do you think there is a need to have that slant of this? And in that slant, I then intend to bring a psychiatric, a clinical psychologist, somebody who understands it from the point of practice, who has a business helping people navigate this kind of condition. And then we slant that conversation around that. Do you see any additional value being added by that approach, or is this kind of sufficient? Please go to the group, go to the chat box and just do yes or no. Yes means we should have it. No means with the session today is sufficient and we can move on to nutritional. Please go in now and let me know what you think. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so, all right. I think I have enough yes. We have already scheduled the nutritional conversation for May, and that will be happening May 25th. You may want to book the date now. May 25th is our next episode, and we will be having a nutritionist. Now, let me break this down for you. This is not just around, this is carbohydrate, this is fat, this is oil. The focus of this goes deeper than that. I also just got into this, I just got this knowledge, I think within the last 1 year, that even our genotype, our blood group affects the kind of food we should be eating. So that is the level of engagement we are hoping to have with the next episode. So that's already scheduled for May the 25th. If we are able to get our confirmed facilitator to do June 29th, which is when we wanted to normally have the physical, then we will move everything out by 1 week. So we'll do the second round of mental in May, and then nutrition, physical, and financial. But if he is not available, then we will take nutrition in May and then come back to mental in June, and then move physical to July, and then deal with financial in August by the grace of God. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you are not part of the Telegram group, please sign up. If you have registered for this, watch out on our emails. We will update you as to what the next episode is going to be all about. But this is the journey that we are planning to have. Now, let me say this, and I'm going to be elaborating on it in the next mental episode. One of the biggest, and I want you to please slow down and listen to me slowly. This is one of my biggest realization over the last 24 months. The biggest part of why we have all these mental challenges is actually because of our expectations. Disappointment is directly proportional to expectations. Most of us, we are not settled in our mind as to the design of this world. Let me give you an example. If you own a car and you are driving that car and you enter the filling station and you fill the tank, please, what is your expectation after a few days or weeks of using the car? You can type or you can talk. What's your expectation as far as fueling is concerned? What's your expectation? Anybody? You have just entered in this era of no fuel subsidy. You spent 40K, 50K to fill your tank, and then you are driving. What is your expectation over time? about that failed situation. It will go down, yes. And then in due course, what would you have to do? You have to refill. Thank you very much, Esther. Do you know that most of us go through life thinking there is something we can do that will make everything go exactly the way we want it to go? That there's something we can do that will protect us from problems. There's some things we can do that will make us not have hard times. There's something we can do. I'm sorry to say this. Are you aware of many rich people that have very sick children that money cannot cure them? They have conditions that money can't cure. They are very rich. If you will not take anything else out of this session, I want to get very real with you. This is the source of our biggest, this is the primary source of our mental issues. We don't understand that the design of this world, the world is designed that anybody that passes through this world, there will always be something to deal with. In fact, the day you realize that your problem is your license, is your badge, is your certificate for being alive, your mind shifts. I say that again. The day you realize that the problem you are facing, no money, how do I pay school fees? How do I pay house rent? I have this health condition. I have that. That problem is the evidence, the proof that you are still alive. And it's supposed to be the thing that leads you to the next and the next and the next. The day you can wrap your mind around what I'm saying, you stop getting overwhelmed every time something doesn't go the way you want it to go. The current tagline of MTN is, what are we doing today? I have adopted it to say, what problem are we solving today? You wake up one day, there was no problem with your car yesterday. You wake up this morning, and then it will not start. You have two choices. You can start pulling your hair and start getting very hysterical. And remember, you were to do, you were to go, you were to go, you were to go. On the other hand, you can remember, okay, is this problem we are solving today? All right, this guy is not ready to run. Is it major? Is it minor? What can I do? Which car can I take? Which car can I borrow? Of all the things I've said I was going to do, which one can wait? Your mind just shifts to solution. Don't be deceived. This will not happen tomorrow by magic. But if this interpretation settles in your mind, you are on your way to getting in charge of your life. And then every negative thing or anything that happens contrary to what you want, stop overwhelming you. You slowly start building capacity for, how can I get it? How can I solve it? What can I do? How can I learn? And the more you do, the more you know how to do. The more problem you solve, the more problem you know how to solve. In the process, your values start to rise. So we will dwell with this the next time we are we'll dwell on this the next time we are going to be focusing on the mental side of wellness. But just know that nothing can immune you from problem. So when they come, see it as this fuel tank now needs to be refilled. Stop complaining about you bought 40,000 fuel last week because you have used it up. Now it's time to top up. Stop thinking about you serviced the car 4 months ago. Now it's due for servicing. Take it back there. That is the design of this world. Disappointment and expectations are directly proportional. So stop thinking that there's something you can do that will make life just, in fact, it's not even healthy for you. You build zero capacity. If life is all smooth sailing, you have no problem, you have no challenge, you have nothing, then you know nothing. So the day you build a mindset that embraces challenges, these are not problems that you are creating. These are not avoidable problems. These are not problems coming from carelessness. These are not problems coming from ignorance. These are problems that are just here because there was nothing else you could have done. They are things that happen because you are alive. The day you start to embrace them, there are people on this call that I know, when they think of their parents dying, they start to shake. And I look at them. Do you want to die before them? Oh, so which one will you pick? But the day you are settled that, okay, one day these people are going to go, you know what it does for you? You cherish every moment. You build memories. You invent because you have prepared your mind for it. So as we end today, prepare your mind. That's the design of the world. That design you have in your head. Why? Why not? You can't be beside the river and expect water not to touch you. So when you get this settled, building coping techniques becomes much easier. But as long as you think there's something you can do, fasting won't save you, praying won't save you, becoming a monk won't save you, going into a monastery is not going to save you. What will save you is being ready. Prepare your mind that that's the design of the world that we are in, and therefore your responsibility is on how you can be well equipped to deal with whatever shows up in front of you and prosper therefrom. I hope that was meaningful to somebody. But next time we are talking about mental, we will dig on it. But I beg you to please, if you don't listen to the entire, come back and listen to this month live. And then you realize that a lot of the things that choke you are things that will just kind of melt simply because of the way you are configuring your mind. All right, so we are now done with everything. These are the socials in case you want to join. We are trying to build a community on Telegram. Please feel free to join. And if you have anything at any point in time, 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 3 a.m., anytime, you need thoughts and opinion about anything, just go in and drop a message. And if you do not want to drop it directly because you do not want anybody to know it's you dropping it, just go look for the administrators and drop the question with them, and then they will bring it into the group, and then you will benefit from the experience and the journey of everybody on that group. So on that note, I'd like to thank all of you for making our time. It's been fantastic today. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for being here. Normally, we would like to take a quick survey. So please, before you go, it's less than 1 minute. It's just 3 simple questions. Yes, no, I mean, that we just go. So we have an idea of how this journey is making sense to you. And from there, we try to find ways of doing better. So be honest, be authentic. Nobody knows who is rating. Those are the questions. You need to scroll down. Just 3 questions, less than 1 minute, and then you're done. So thank you once again for being here. Very, very much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you in May by the grace of God. Take care, everybody.